Well, hey everybody, it's Thursday, the 29th day of May, 2025. I'm Jan Erickson, and this is As Above, So Below. Well, I hope you're doing well today. Let's go ahead and get started and take a rune from the Elder Futhark bag for the above side of things, followed by a Geomancy rune for the below side of things. We have I was. I was is the 13th rune of the Elder Futhark. It's literally Laguz forward. If you spin it, it's not. It looks like it's forward and reverse, but it's not because it's upside down. It's essentially flow from spirit into form. It's a connection between opposites, and it's one of the as above, so below runes. So Willow is another one where it's Ken as. It's like looks like a lightning bolt, but it's Ken as forward and reversed, and that's the rune of the will and the rune of higher self and of light, and it's the torch, and so you can see that it's all whenever we have an as above so below rune, when it expresses that type of energy, it's literally bringing higher awareness or spirit awareness into physical reality, into your mind, and being able to then see things from that standpoint. It can be the link between realms. It can be involved in trance work and be protection. But again, it's drawing higher awareness into physical reality. So there could be something happening today where you need the benefit of that versus responding with the ego. Let's see what the Geomancy runes say here, which one they're going to be. Put these in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. Well, we have Pur, and I think that's what we had on Monday. We had Pur. Pur is one of the two youthful energies of the Geomancy set. Puella is its complement. Pur would be the little boy energy, and Puella would be the little girl energy. And here we have, with Pur, again, it's a lack of impulse control. It can be as if you try to restrain boys, sometimes they get a little aggressive and hostile, and sometimes they're funny about it, but sometimes they're not. But basically, you're talking about an unstable force, a lot of energy, but in an unstable, impulsive way. So again, if there's something that you might want to react that way to today, I was maybe saying, you need to rethink that and just kind of sit quietly and let higher awareness come in and see what the real choice needs to be instead of one that's just made impulsively. Because sometimes, impulsive choices lead to pretty negative outcomes. So, and you want to make sure that doesn't happen today. Let's do a little bit more here. And cut the deck. Got all these crystals all over the place here. I can't set my cards down right. Take the lower half, draw 3 cards. Well, as with a lot of the readings lately, we're getting 2 cards from the Major Arcana and then one from the Suit of Cups from the court, though. So we've got the Page of Cups from that. We've got the Wheel of Fortune, and we've got the Tower here. Let's go ahead and do our numerology for the reading. So I was is going to, again, be a 13, plus 16 for the Tower, plus 10 for the Wheel of Fortune. That comes to 39, and that's 12. 9 and 3 is 12. 1 and 2 is 3. So we're going to have a total of 3. An overall 3 numerology. 3 is oftentimes about communication, it's about imagination, integration, harmony. But basically, you're talking about a more integrated type of an experience with the 3. Let's see. What else do I need to say about it? Probably nothing. Let's go ahead and take a look at when we look at the Major Arcana. We're looking at soul archetype cards, and so they'll both align well with I was. I don't know that poor is going to align too well with the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is uh, you're looking at somebody who's confident, who expresses discretion, empathy. Cups is the water element, so it's our emotions. It's also imagination, and momentum, movement, change. But he's imaginative. He's a youthful child, of course. Also, all pages are youthful person. The Also, it can indicate, depending on what's with it, the birth of a child. Also indicates somebody who's very intuitive. Uh, and I need to just pull that up so it doesn't ding at me again. And so basically, again, you're looking at, I mean, on the downside of it, if there was a lack of impulse control, emotionally, maybe becoming very emotional or something, the page might align with poor, but maybe only in terms of the youthful energy here. But to start with the tower, I think we're going to make we'll put poor in the middle and see how this goes and read it this way, and we'll let the Wheel of Fortune and the Tower guide the Page of Cups energy here. So proceeding with confidence and discretion and imagination and strong intuition, but then not allowing impulse control to control or a lack of impulse control to control all of that. But here you have the Tower. It's the 16th card of the Major Arcana, so you're looking at a 7 energy. This reminds me of a scale, with this being the top and each person falling. And we don't know that they're falling to their death. There could be a moat down there, a body of water, and they'll just fall into that and be okay. But so we don't know what actually happens to them. But it looks like a rebalancing needs to happen here. With the tower, we've got the lightning bolt that comes in and blows the top off the tower there. You see fire coming out of the windows and out of the top. You see smoke billowing out. And it's just, the fire is just sort of raining down onto the area below that you don't see. But the tower is an interesting card. It's about disruption, catalytic change, things that get your attention, in other words. That make you rethink things and rebalance things in a way that maybe you didn't think of before. It actually implies positive transformation and letting go of perceptions that no longer serve. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune as the 10th card. We've got basically implies the ending and the beginning of prosperity and fortune and the turning of the wheel. And so if the wheel turns, then it begins again, essentially, right? When it turns completely. So this is about movement and success and cycles and prosperity and all the components that go into making that, all the elemental components. Here you've got the fixed signs of the zodiac here. And so there's a sense of purpose. There's a sense of measured action with the fixed signs. And so they're very focused and diligent in what they do. And so consequently, I think that whatever is happening today, whatever decision you have to make today in terms of what's happening for you, you're going to have to do it with some self-confidence, but you're going to have to do it with some discretion. Your intuition is strong. Your imagination can work on your behalf. But at the same time, in order to bring success with the Wheel of Fortune, but prior to that, some shifting needs to take place so you can actually get to that point. And it may be that you have always been a reactionary type of a person. And today, what I think between the Tower and what it's telling us is that it's time to let some of that go. And you don't do that at the cost of your intuition or the cost of your imagination, or at the cost of your self-confidence. Letting go of impulses that get you into a place that you really don't want to be. It's not going to reinforce any of that stuff anyway, right? It's not going to reinforce your confidence. It's not going to reinforce success. And so there has to be something that shakes things up for you today, where you can then proceed on in a way that does reflect self-confidence and imagination and intuition for what can happen as a result of it. So if it's a new opportunity, for example, again, you want to do your due diligence, you want to do things in a measured way and make sure you understand the pros and cons of it. We've kind of been having some of that here of late anyway, that type of a theme in the readings. There's just could be some real shakeups in your life, and I know I read yesterday that there was a trade court that said no on the tariffs. He can't do any of that stuff, and so we'll see what happens there. They've already got the appeal in, and I don't know to what court they go to from there, but I suspect that they won't last. And so whatever disruption and chaos that has come from that in your life, especially if you're a small business person and you had to close your business, you'll have to find out if there's going to be any legal redress for any of that. That's one thing. So there's a lot of things that have been shaken up here. And if you're getting your self-confidence from a lack of, impulse control. I was outside yesterday and the pollen has got my throat all a mess this morning. And I haven't taken anything yet. I've got my tea, but I didn't put any antiseptic in it. I did put nettle in it though, so that should help. But anyway, if you have been affected by that, if you've been affected financially by that, then in the stock market, then if your 401k took a hit because of what has gone on, the irresponsibility of it all. That could have been enough of a catalyst to get you to understand things in a different way, for example. That might be one way to look at it, depending on who you are and how this affects you. But for the wheel to continue to turn and for you to have the success that you need to have, there may need to be some giving up of some of the ways you see things. The confidence or support that you have in the person in the Oval Office who is just, I mean, what on earth, you may have to see it a different way so that you understand that he's not on your side here, and he's not here to make sure that you're successful. That's for the billionaire class. He'll make sure they are, but the rest of us, no. And so I think that's pretty clear at this point. But whatever chaos is happening there cannot come into your life in a way that upends everything. And so whatever precautions you can take now that you see that the stakes are this high for you, especially if you end up having to close your business down, even if it's just temporary, there's money lost there. And so will you have enough? And so this new opportunity may address some of that, if that's what this is reflecting here. And I think that it is. It may address some of that and take you in another direction where it's a little more secure. But you're going to have to be thinking about all kinds of other things that you've never probably thought of before. And so, it's just one of those times where I think that even though there's kind of a cyclical thing to this sort of stuff, we don't know how long this is going to last, and we don't know what the court's going to say about, hey, you overstepped and you can't, all those tariffs go away now. So if that continues and it goes up to the Supreme Court and they reinforce that, then he's done with that. He can't do that, right? You can't declare an emergency when there isn't one. You can't say the economy's in the toilet when it is not. They're all lies. And so consequently, you can't then make decisions based on those that affect the American people. That's what the court is essentially saying. And so we'll see what happens there. But as the wheel continues to turn, for all of us, we're all going to be faced with how will our future look and what will success in our lives look like? And again, letting go of some of the perceptions we have or the belief that we had in certain people and in certain things they were saying, which is nonsense. But if we believed in all of that and trusted that, it seems like the tower is saying, yeah, don't. You need to look at this a little more realistically. And with IWAS, it's saying draw down higher awareness to make that happen. And don't be so involved in the ego and thinking that, this guy's going to make everything right for you, because it's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. And so, again, letting go of and use that experience, the chaos of all of it, as a catalyst to make you rethink things. Okay, do that, and then from there, you know, you can move forward in self-confidence and let your imagination take you into a new direction here. And you know, but if the intuition is saying you might want to rethink this or that, pay attention to it, because it could be higher awareness saying, you know what, you're starting to slip a little bit back, and let your lack of impulse control and your belief in something that was unwarranted guide you to a place that is not going to be successful for you. So anyhow, I think that's it. The 3 is the integration, you know, having that mind, body, spirit balance. You can look at 3 that way as well, and have that be guided by higher awareness instead of and that a balance achieved by that. Because again, the Tower is also talking about balance. And in some ways, so's the Wheel of Fortune. As the cycle continues to move, it needs to rebalance itself so that it continues on in a positive way. So anyhow, I think that's it. I think we did it. Anyhow, have a good weekend. We're coming up upon June here, and we'll see what June is like. Especially for my garden. I just planted the carrots, or not the carrots I did the other day. I did corn yesterday. My husband did the potatoes. So that part's done. And everything else is just waiting to be sure before we set some of the tender stuff out and put those transplants in. So they look really good, though. I've got them in my garden tent, and they're on under lights, and they all look great. So we just have to keep them going in that direction, and then we can get them in, and hopefully we don't have to cover too much when the weather turns cold at night, when unexpectedly. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and have a good weekend, and come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.